welcome to Speak Your Brain. I'm your host, Pani. On the first episode, I bring one of my really good friends, Anna Katharina, that I met a few years ago on a photo shoot set, and we became friends instantly. She's a Instagram influencer, but she's extremely cool and humble. It makes it so easy to talk to her and connect to her. And we immediately get into talking about dating life and our love languages and how different it is for different people. And we talked about the ugly duckling syndrome and how growing up we were both very ugly and how that played out in our personalities even now as adults. And we talk about her personality type, which is a really interesting one that I love. We also talk, she's a true crime fanatic, so we talk about serial killers and the different styles of serial killing. She's super passionate about that, so I love talking to her about that. It was a very fun episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did. So thank you to you and to your boyfriend and their game. That game was driving us nuts.
I remember thinking, if anything, Pawnee's going to get a boyfriend out of this, because you were like so cute and giggly. You're like, I don't know. And I was like getting red in the face and I was like clenching and I was going to flip that table over, break the glass. I was going to lose it. And they couldn't stop laughing at us. And they're like, it takes a high IQ to get this.
No, we were very upset. We were very upset because it went on for a really long...
An hour and 45 minimum. Exactly. 2 hours maybe. I don't know.
And we guessed everything. We really put our heads into it. We're
Absolutely.
like, what could it be?
Absolutely. I thought there was some weird witchcraft going on, but...
And then at the end they told us and we felt so dumb.
Yeah, I felt stupid. I couldn't come down from my rage. It's like when someone flips you off when they're driving.
You rage really cute. You rage really adorable.
I don't know. I have like this weird lazy eye that like gets stuck a little bit when I get really mad and I get really pink, but that's why I book all my modeling jobs.
Oh my god. So how is Davey?
He's good.
When is he gonna like...
Everyone always asks me that, which is why that's so funny.
I couldn't even finish my question. Did you say? I was like, when is he gonna...
It's like sleep together or something. I don't know, next Tuesday. No, it's so funny because people always ask me. And I'm like, I'm not really the one that's... In our relationship, I feel like I would be the one to propose, which is sad, like that Leap Year movie. But I don't know. I would say yes if you're listening. Don't be nervous, babe.
Hint.
Yes, and he accepts me the way that I am because I'm a million times more difficult than he is.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
No, I do. I'm like, here are my flaws, and you have to like them a lot.
Like what? You're perfect. What are you talking about?
I have like 5 off the top of my head.
Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go.
Let's tie this right into our INFJ Myers-Briggs personality test.
So I had Anna take Myers-Briggs personality test, which for whoever doesn't know, it's a personality test and it's psychology-based. It's not science-based. Don't come at me. A lot of people call it pseudoscience, which I've followed it for a really long time and it holds very true. Like everyone that I've had take the test, it's extremely, extremely accurate. Maybe not every word, but, you know, it gets you very close. It definitely gets you closer than zodiac signs, which no hate on zodiac signs
100%.
either. But this is just more psychology-based. So you're an INFJ, which is actually a really rare one. They're called the unicorns of personality types. So there are 16 personality types, right? And the way they are, it gives you like 4 letters after you take the test. It's you either get an E or an I, you get a N or an S, you get a T or an F, you get a J or a P. And what it is like the first letter, the E or I, is you're either an extrovert or an introvert, which is how people are energized, like how you recharge. The second letter is sensing or intuition, which is the kind of information we naturally pay attention to out of like all the information that's just like tossed at us at all times. The third one is thinking or feeling, which is how we make decisions. Like, do you make decisions mostly based on like facts and data, or mostly like on like emotions and feelings? And the fourth one is J or P, which is judging or perceiving. It's a huge misconception that judging means judgmental. It has nothing to do with that. Judging and perceiving is how we like to organize our world, which like later we can go more into like details, but right now I want to like talk about Anna's Myers-Briggs, which is INFJ. It's a really rare one, between 2 and 3% of American population. And I love how it starts. Because, okay, one of my friends I had take the test, and she was at ESFP. And the first line, how it starts, is in quotes. It says, "Where's the party at?"
I love that.
And she's just so bubbly, and she's just like the life of the party. And like, that's her. Like, she just feeds
thrives.
Thrives and like feeds off of like people's energies, and like she's always at parties, just always having a good time. Like, if I'm feeling bad and I want to go out, like she's the person to hit up. Yeah.
My like tagline is like, when are people gonna leave this party? I want them to leave my house.
That's because you're an I, so you're introverted. So you like, after you hang out with people, you can be extroverted, you can be bubbly, but then you need to recharge. You need to like, go into your solitude and like,
absolutely.
But how yours start is just so cute. It goes, 2 words that best describe most INFJs are integrity and originality.
Yeah.
Like, just wow. Patient, supportive, especially gifted at thinking up new and better ways to help people get their needs met. Typically gentle and soft-spoken. INFJs do not like to call attention to themselves. Often
based off my Instagram, I don't know if that's completely true.
Often are content to work behind the scenes. Well, Instagram's different. It's like, who else are you going to post on your Instagram?
There is nothing about my Instagram that really rings true to my actual personality. It's like, I know what makes money, and it has nothing to do with my actual personality type. So I guess that is something to make clear.
Exactly. And it's like, you actually like have to hang out with you. To know what you're like. Like, when I first hung out with you, I was like, you're nothing like your Instagram. Yeah. You're just like really one of those great examples of like being like this beautiful girl on Instagram. Obviously has like a lot of followers, but you hang out with her in person, she's just like so cool, so down to earth.
Thank you.
And I don't just say that about anyone, but like when I hung out with you, I was like, damn. Just humble as fuck.
Thank you. Well, I think the issue with I hate the influencer word, it's just so cringy, but like, yeah, we might make money the same way, but I think what makes us different, not you and I, but me and other folks,
right,
is how cool we think we are for doing it. I don't think I'm cool for doing it. I just think it's a great, easy way to make money. I'm not hating on it, but I don't think I'm more valuable or cooler because I could go on a DJ's yacht. I don't want to.
Well, it's cool that you think that,
Thanks.
Maybe it's not cool that like, it's not cool to do those things and like have that. Maybe it is cool to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like to us, especially living in LA, like so many people have that. It
you
becomes
have access
so
to
normal.
It. Exactly.
Yeah, like my cousin just came to town for my birthday with her friend, and we went out to dinner, and they go like, so how many famous people have you met? And I was like, girl, this is LA. You could like throw a rock out of a window and it'll probably hit an influencer.
100%. It's so true. You'll see him coming out of a porta potty. It's going to be like Robert De Niro. And you're like, yeah, it's just a normal.
Okay, that is cool.
That'd be so sick. I did see Jamie Foxx on the PCH though.
What was that like? Was he cool?
It was nothing. I saw his profile, his side of his face, and then I kept driving.
You didn't like
and I'll
go
tell
and, like,
everybody
bang
that'll
on his
listen.
door? You didn't go like introduce yourself, just make his life
it's
stop?
the introvert in me, I'm all talk, no go. But
Jamie Foxx is a cool dude.
he seems like it.
He does everything. I would love to meet him.
I feel like we're bouncing around. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. You haven't even drank your water yet.
I told you I'll have to pee.
Well, then we'll wait. You go pee.
No.
I'm committed to this.
No, this is my job for the next hour.
I like that. So yeah. Should I go off more on your personality type, or was that good enough? Oh, this part of it, I was reading to my friend Eileen, who's the same personality type as me, and we both just praised this personality type just for this part. I mean, like, look how evolved this part sounds.
Okay.
It goes, INFJs are decisive, organized, and great planners. Like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Combined with their single-mindedness and sometimes fierce determination, they are often extremely productive. Wow. What is it like to be extremely productive? They like to set goals and can work tirelessly to achieve them. Like, mic drop.
Okay, so I would like to be like, yes, this is so true.
You're like, yeah, that's me.
But I think I'm too lazy for that. I wish I was one of those people. I'm definitely single-minded. Like, I can focus on something obsessively. It's my downfall, but also I think what makes me me. I know that, I don't know if it's the intuition part of my personality, but I feel like I'm almost stunted by that, only because I feel like INFJs are often described as having like a sixth sense, because they're able to they're able to see a behavior in something in somebody that maybe they haven't even recognized in themselves. So it almost seems like, and I don't know if this is the judgment as well, but I feel like within a couple of minutes of meeting you, I know whether or not there's something I will not be able to handle about you. And I think it's especially the case with women.
Oh, I'm getting so self-conscious right now.
No, I mean, I'm here for a reason.
True.
You know? But I feel like with women, with men, I don't have it. I
Right.
mean, you could just be a serial killer. And
That's so funny you say that.
I would not know. I'd be like, you're so charming and you're so funny. And I like, you're 6'4".
Why do you think that is? Like, why?
I think
What
because as
causes
a female, I know what is somewhat normal. Not that I'm the deciding factor, but I know as a female what would be it makes me sound like the most like narcissistic, arrogant person. But just like, I can feel when someone is toxic.
Yeah.
As a girl, like there's something that just plays to my gut where I'm like, I don't need to know any more than what you've given me in the first 5 minutes. And I have, to this day, never been wrong. With men, I am wrong every day of the week. But with women, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I know that your goals with our friendship or even my relationship are not ones of integrity.
Like, bitch, you just want to shout out on my Instagram, don't you? Thank you.
Keep guzzling.
I know, I'm so thirsty. I'm like,
just depleted.
No, but that's really interesting you say that you're like that with guys. I mean, you're like that with women, but not with guys, because mine has always been the opposite. That's
a very helpful thing, except for girls can be just as awful and conniving and hurt you just as much as a male, really, or if not more.
I'm sorry if this like is a very unpopular idea or sexist, but I just really do believe that with guys, there's one thing that they really want.
It's very true.
You know, and it's out in the open. Everybody knows about it, and yeah, they could like come up with different cool new ways to like hide it and like. But at the end of the day, it's one thing that you have to worry about. But with girls, you never know how many things it could be. Like, and there are like so many different. The end game. Like, what's at the core? And sometimes it like takes me so long to find that out about my friends. Like, and yeah, it's scary. Like, men don't really scare me.
I don't expect much from men, and I think that's why. With girls, it's kind of like we're on the same team, you know?
But then a lot of times. You're not. You think you are. But
well, like we should be is what I'm saying. It's more disappointing, I guess.
Very disappointing. Have you ever had like a really bad, how did you learn that? Like, how did you come to your, like that intuition that you say? Did you just always have it, or did you have like some really bad experiences that like taught you?
With women?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think I, in general, have had a hard time connecting with people from day one. I feel like I was born as a middle-aged woman, and I just kind of stayed that way. I feel like my personality now is the exact same as it was when I was in 4th grade, which is, I mean, yeah, that's nice, but it also makes you really, really weird to people your age. So when you're 8 and you're reading Handmaid's Tale on the playground, I'm not kidding, and then your teacher's like, I think that's a little aggressive for someone in your age bracket.
Do not judge me, lady.
Seriously, I'm like, this will be a hit Hulu show. Just wait, Margaret Atwood is the woman. I was a weird kid. Yes, that is correct. I had a scoliosis brace. I carried a briefcase. I had a unibrow. I like my humor.
Not.
Swear to God,
I had to paint. To see a picture.
I swear on my life, we had to paint Frida Kahlo portraits in 4th grade Miss Pipkin's class. And when we did that, everyone went, oh, it looks like Anna. Yeah. And I was like, well, she was also an incredible woman. So thank you.
Yes. I was actually reading about her personality type the other day, but we're not going to get into that. She was a really, really cool person. Like, out of all the artists that I was like reading their personality types, she just.
Badass.
Yeah.
Absolute badass. But yeah, I think I was just always weird. And I think the people that I connected with, I feel like I always connect with really weird humans, whether that be good or bad. And so I think that my personality type attracts people like you who are cool, and yeah, you're a weirdo too. But like there's also those kooks that like you do want to avoid.
Yeah, there's good type of weird,
Yeah.
and there is like break your things when you're sleeping weird.
And watch you while you're sleeping weird.
And yeah, and that was a real that did happen in my life, but we're not gonna get into that either.
Or we could. Summarize it in 10 seconds or less.
Just like the same distrust for women. Just, you know, a girlfriend that I guess we had like a bit of a argument the night before we went to bed. We were staying at a hotel. We were in where were we? In Texas for a modeling job. And we had like a very small argument the night before. And we would kind of like have like little things here and there where like she would do something that would annoy me, and I would always tell her like, hey, you said this thing that was like kind of bothered me, you know? Let's just like, you know, talk about it. Let's see what we can do to fix it and like move on. But she was just like very dramatic. Like when I would like tell her like, hey, you did something that bothered me, she would just immediately start crying. Oh. And I was like, I'm not yelling at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm a little upset. But like I'm giving you this as like a, I don't know, fix it so we can continue being good friends. But that was just kind of like her thing. So like
just meltdowns.
Just like meltdowns and then playing victim.
I hate that. I would never have given her a second shot.
I would feel bad for being mad at her because she would do something that would make me upset, but then I would be like, oh, but I don't want her to be upset because I'm upset. And then like it's just like this mind fuck. We were friends for a very short amount of time.
Is that like gaslighting? Is that the correct term for that?
Yes, it is.
You give me a thumbs up if it is.
Yeah, it is. No, absolutely.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah. I actually like really got into like learning that word because of that friendship.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. And so one night like we got in like a very small argument, like we were not drinking. So I go to bed and I wake up the next morning and my phone is shattered into pieces. And so I wake up and I'm like, no one's been in this room except me and her. So I wake her up and I'm like, hey, let's call her Chloe. Hey, Chloe, did you do this? And she goes, I don't know. I found my phone broken. Did you break my phone? I was like, wait, did you break my phone on purpose because you thought I broke your phone?
Just some erratic behavior.
The hell, woman?
Yeah.
And then I just like, I was like, okay, that's it for me. But it took me a really long time to get to that. And then like in retrospect, I was like, wait, it's so fucked up how everything like makes sense only in retrospect.
Totally.
Like when you look back, you're like, damn, I missed all of those red flags for such a long time. And but in the moment,
you don't have that intuition about women. It would have taken me one thing of tears from that chick, and I would have been like, this is where I exit because you're unstable.
Yeah, I guess it's like, you know what it is? It's like you want to believe that someone is good and you want to help them, and like they do play that innocent part, and like you buy into it and you're like, I want to be good to this person. I want to help this person. I want us to be good friends because she's also so good at fronting. You know, so it's.
I just had a falling out with someone like that as well, and they're heartbreaking, especially when they have a bad past or whatever. It plays into all of the thing of like, I don't want to leave this person. Yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry to deal with that.
And it happens like every now and then. I've lost like a couple friends in like my 27 years of life, and the part that sucks about it the most, I don't have a problem with like letting people in my life and letting them out. Like that part is not very difficult for me. The part that sucks is that every time somebody leaves your life, they take like a little piece of you with them, because how about like all those memories that you guys made, like all those things that you guys did. Now every time you do that thing and you think of them, now it's like with this bitter taste because of like the thing that happened between you guys. So they kind of like take those memories away too. Yeah, so I think that's like what sucks the most about it.
Yeah, I think that's why I don't like to really get. I mean, it's like all of a sudden it got very depressing tone. I'm like, this is why I don't have friends. That is, I mean, reason 480 why I don't like to open up to people, because you don't know how long they're going to be there in your life. So why am I going to be vulnerable and open up to you and tell you all the things that I actually have kept a secret my whole life if you're just going to leave and then have that? I don't like that vulnerability that someone has a part of me that I don't want out there. Like, I like to have control. over almost every aspect of my life, including what people know.
Yeah.
And
that's really
weird,
interesting that you say that. And I don't find that weird. What I do find weird are people that share their secrets almost immediately after you meet them.
Oh, that's creepy. That's a red flag.
And I actually, I hate keeping going back to the same girl, but she just like...
I feel like I know who you're talking about.
I don't want you to bring her name.
I know who you're talking about just strictly because of stuff, and I can't wait to ask you afterwards.
You guys actually don't know each other.
We don't?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, no, I know who you're talking about. Because, yeah. Life is weird. I knew this would happen.
LA is just so small. Like all of my friends that I've like gone out with like after and I like told them about her, like they all had their own stories.
Oh, I wanted to warn you immediately, but I don't like to shit talk. But
everybody warned me. So many. She was the only person that when I became friends with, so many people reached out to me and they warned me.
Yeah.
And I was so stupid. Like the way I was like, oh, she's my friend. I'm gonna stick with her. I'm gonna take her side.
No.
And another thing was that each person has their own like, I guess, experience with different people. So I was like, maybe they had a shitty experience with this person, but by far she hasn't done anything bad to me.
Totally.
She seems fine, so I'm gonna like go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But that is something that she would do. She would share secrets that she was not supposed to.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, a lot of people that she would share those secrets with, it would make them uncomfortable because it was so early to share those secrets with them.
Absolutely.
And for a long time, I was like, oh, she's really vulnerable. She has, like, this soft soul that, like, she just... No.
It's a manipulation
What
tool.
I understand now is that when people share secrets with you really early on, they give you that feeling of like, oh, we're really close.
We're close.
That's why I'm sharing this with you. Mm-hmm. So they use that as a bonding tool to like later kind of like manipulate you and like control you. It's like a way of like and I met other girls that do that too, like, or people that you meet and immediately they're like, I love you so much.
We're best friends.
We're best friends.
The best friends thing immediately freaks me out.
It's like, I just met you.
We literally just met.
Relax.
Yeah, and they text you constantly. It's like that desperation is like, I wouldn't want to date you.
This turned into shit.
I know. Oh,
so
yeah.
Quick.
Oopsie. My ass is sweating. I'm getting fired up. Anyways, back to, you want to talk about serial killers or what's the deal? That's all I could think about.
Oh, man. I totally forgot that you guys know each other, too.
Oh, yeah. I have like 5 stories on the top of my head that would scare you and our listeners.
Wait. You should have told me.
Yeah.
You should, because out of all the people that like reached out to me, like warned about her, I was like, I don't really like trust you guys' judgment either. Like, you know.
I'm a big fan of letting things happen to the person. It's kind of like trying to talk your buddy out of breaking up with, you know, some girl that everyone else is, you know, we all see she's toxic. You need to live it. You need to go through it. You need to be done. There's no point in trying to convince somebody.
That's very true.
And maybe they could have changed or gone on meds or something.
Yeah, I do think she needs meds. Mm-hmm. But
half of LA does, so that's okay.
And then the beautiful part about it is like I don't regret it. I don't regret like being friends with her, and like I did really like learn so much. But whenever we like stopped being friends, the most beautiful part about it was that our big group, we have like a big group of friends that it's my group of friends. I brought her into my group of friends, and she like made friends with everyone. And after we like had a falling, we totally like just stopped being friends. She would like reach out to everyone and call everyone and try to get them on her side.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do that because I wasn't like trying to extend the drama to everyone. But then one of my friends called me and she was like, what you're doing is you're falling behind because she's getting everyone on her side. And I was like, it's not a race. I'm not falling behind. And then what everybody did actually, they took my side without me even asking them.
They know you longer. There's history there.
So beautiful. I was like, wow, I didn't have to go and tell people this person is not who you think she is. Like, be careful. No, everybody actually already knew.
Your character spoke for itself. I mean, just because you're ratting, you know, just because you're talking shit, not you, but like that person, and backing up why you did what you did, does not mean anything. I mean, who you are as a person, I almost just said, you shine from within.
Oh,
how dare you say that?
Say it.
It's true, though. It's like, I don't know, some people you just trust instinctually, and I feel like you're one of those people, in my opinion.
I'm really bad with women. That's what it is. Like, with guys, I can tell. You know? I'm just like guys are just so much easier in every aspect for me. I don't know, maybe
more formula.
Yeah, it's like very simple for me. Maybe because like I have an older brother and I'm like the only girl in my family. Well, I have like
Probably.
one girl cousin, but like for the most part, like in my immediate family, like it's all mostly guys.
Okay.
Like all my neighbors used to be guys. So it's just much easier for me to connect with guys than girls.
But you're a girl's girl. Like, you're one of those people that's going to have like 17 bridesmaids, which I don't understand how girls do that. I'll have 2. One will be my mom. And maybe you. I'm kidding.
I'll be there.
No,
Maybe
it's
I'll
true.
be a best man.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You and Raphael. It's funny. Yeah, no, all the girls, all the people in my family were chicks, so that's probably why.
You're a girl's girl too.
Thanks.
Aren't you?
Yeah. No, I would think so. I'm more comfortable with men, I think.
Yeah.
But I definitely like if there's a room full of guys and girls, I'll gravitate towards the women.
Yeah.
For sure. Even if I don't want to.
You like force yourself.
Yeah, to get to know them. Because like girls are weird with threats, you know?
True.
No one wants the girl that gravitates towards the guys.
Ooh, we're getting socially intelligent.
Well, I feel like that's one of the things that when I look at a girl and what I dislike, the girls that call themselves guys, girls, and only talk to the men.
Like one of the bros.
I'm like, you don't have to say it, and you don't have to make a point of it. You just are or you aren't. And I feel like that's a big red flag for me.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's true. And it's like in a group, when you're with girls, the last thing you want to do as a girl is be threatening to the rest of the girls.
Absolutely not. I never want to compete.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I hated being single, and I feel like I avoided being single a lot because of that.
Yeah.
Because when you're single, girls talk more shit about you because you're a threat. People assume more about what you're doing. And I feel like when you're in a relationship, you're just kind of boring to everybody. And I like to stay in the boring zone. I want my name out of people's mouths. It is. Seriously, boring zone is safe zone. It's true. Are you dripping with sweat as well?
I'm just so hot.
I am literally like just droplets down my ass.
Your ass sweats, girl?
Oh, constantly. No, it is actually. It's an issue. Like I wear certain pants so it will hide it. It like is
I am not cutting that out, Anna.
It's no, please. Everyone that knows me knows that. I have to I remember I was in a spelling bee and I sweat right through my pants and I just had these 2 huge round circles of just drenched marks.
And did you get the spelling right?
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I actually was a champion.
Stop.
One of the only things I've ever won at spelling, baby.
Okay, spell schizophrenia. Go.
Oh shit!
I know.
I know how to spell schizo. SCHIZO.
I know how to spell psycho.
Or PHRENIA.
Oh, you're actually doing it?
Yeah, okay. I did it. It's the competitive thing in me. I have to be right. And I didn't blink the whole time I stared at you. It's so sad. But so when I first took it, I immediately had to Google the famous people that had my same personality type. And I was obsessed with this because
I have it.
Not only was Hitler and Osama bin Laden an INFJ, but like Gandhi and Mother Teresa. So I'm thinking, how contradictory are those? Yeah, and how diverse is that? And I think that's why I became so obsessed with it, but also was like, is this really accurate if Gandhi can be the same thing as Hitler?
Yeah, Gandhi.
And did they sit down and take this test?
Together? And they were like, let's good cop, bad cop it.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I can't see, Hitler sitting down and being like, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do I empathize with people, or do I want to leave the party first?
Well, I mean, I'm actually like kind of obsessed with Hitler.
I am too.
I don't think he was a great person, not in a good way. But I do think he was an evil genius.
Osama bin Laden and Hitler were known for having incredible senses of humor, and they're charismatic. Yeah. But so is Ted Bundy.
Oh my God.
So, like, some of the most charming people are the most dangerous because they know what people want to hear. And I think that that's one thing about even, like, the introvert thing, where I'm obviously on a less evil scale of that, where people always think I'm an extrovert when they first meet me. Yeah. But they couldn't be more wrong. But I think it's because I want people to feel comfortable with me. Yeah. And so I give it my all when I enter a room because I want people to feel comfortable. And I think, in turn, I feel more comfortable. But I feel like if you're crazy, then there's like the Hitlers of the world that like they know what people want to hear and they do it for a different purpose. I do it because I feel like I want to make everyone feel comfortable. Yeah. And I want to be liked.
You want to be liked.
So bad.
Who doesn't want to be liked?
Yeah.
Did you watch Ted Bundy's
All of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So scary.
I saw the Zac Efron reenactment too, and he killed it.
There's
he nailed
Zac
it.
Efron reenactment?
Yeah. No, I was like upset when I saw that he was cast as Ted Bundy, but he nailed it because he kind of, I don't know if he'll be listening to this, so I don't want to put that out there. But he does have crazy eyes. Like, he has some darkness behind them.
Zac Efron?
For sure. Like, not American, whatever, musical, high school, whatever.
All
but
I see is a white boy. But
there's some things going on in that brain, and they're dark, and I can tell.
Do you know personally?
I met him once for 35 minutes. He was actually incredibly nice. But it was more like, you can tell when someone has, I think just by looking at them, like an intelligence, like you can tell they have seen some shit. Like you, yeah, but yeah, you have, but it's like fun.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not so scary.
It is scary when you wake up and your phone is exactly how it was when you left it the night before, and you pick it up and it's shattered into pieces, and you're like,
I'm unsafe.
That could have been my face.
That could have been your face, absolutely.
But yeah, please continue.
That's all I had to say about that, I think. But yeah, I think that's how I got obsessed with the personality thing, because I think even with like the zodiac, like astrological whatever stuff.
What's your zodiac?
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, that's my dad. Those are some stubborn people.
Yeah, we're stubborn. But I'm also, do you know the Enneagram? I don't know how to pronounce that.
I actually know yours, but I don't know mine.
Because I put it on my story.
Is that why?
5 times a month.
What is it?
I'm a 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that goes, they all tie together. Yeah. But I feel like, astrologically speaking, that's not very accurate. I just think people really like to relate to something.
Yeah. And
it's kind of like, I'm not saying church is like this, but it's kind of like entering a club where you all are like-minded.
It's a sense of community.
Yeah. And it's like kind of, I don't know, I feel like my stomach just started growling so loud. Could you hear that?
No. Put the mic on it.
It sounded gassy, but it wasn't. I promise. Anyways.
Weirdo.
So, I know. I'm sorry.
The pain.
I'm going to lose like the last 3 friends I have.
But I feel like
here. Thanks. Now I'm going to go into parenting as someone that is not a parent and doesn't want to be one.
Oh, I want to hear it.
But it's the thing of, you're not supposed to say like, our daughter is so you, or our daughter is so me, because you're ultimately putting a bunch of characteristics on that child that they did not sign up for, nor do they even really have. Yeah. And they will end up fulfilling those characteristics, and they might not have. That's and then when they hear the father say something really mean about the mom, like, oh, she's so selfish, or, she's just thoughtless, the daughter will be like, well, he says I'm like mom.
So I must be
selfish and thoughtless.
Yeah.
So it's important not to do that. I have like a list of do's and don'ts of if I do become a parent, which is highly unlikely, but that's one of them, because I know how painful that can be.
Because it's like expectations. Like, people around you, like, they give you, like, you feed off of their expectations, their energies, the vibes that they, like, throw you,
Totally.
It's like, okay, if that's what's expected of me, maybe I'll just, like... So do you think with a lot of stereotypes, like, that could be the truth? Like, do you think... Maybe there are some Asian people that they drive bad because that's expected of them.
Maybe. They're like, I'm not going to even learn.
They're like, I'm not going to try,
I feel like I'm so the opposite, though. Like, if I were to hear that, I'd be like, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be what changes everyone's minds. And I feel like that's even, like, tying that back into even, like, the Instagram culture, where people look at you and I can guarantee 10 times out of 10, no one's looked at you and I and been like, she is really smart and she has great values.
Yeah, no.
Truthfully.
Dude, I remember when we used to go to bungalow and it was just painful to like walk around.
Just farm animals. Just with how they behave,
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm not gonna like, don't play me a violin here also.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Are you gonna cry?
No, it's just like
do it.
It is so unpopular to admit that you're beautiful. It's like, if you admit that, like, hey, like, I know that I'm a good-looking person.
Yeah.
People are ultimately like, oh, she's so
conceited,
full of herself. It's like, no, I really am not. And a lot of times I do feel like really ugly, and it's like, totally normal, but sometimes when I do get dressed up and put 2 hours of hair and makeup into it, I do feel beautiful, and I'm gonna admit it. And
that's a good thing.
And we go out and we get attention, and then we cry over it because we're like, oh my god, it's so much attention. I don't know how to handle it.
Well, it's funny because I feel like, yeah, you can recognize that you're attractive, but it's putting weight on that where it's like, yes, but I'm also funny, or I'm also very loyal, or I'm, a good daughter.
Good friend.
Yeah, putting weight on the correct things. And it's interesting because I feel like you're punished if you're insecure, and people are like, no one wants to hear it. And, it's like that pity party thing of like, people would kill to look like you. But then if you're confident, people are like, oh, I can't stand her. Like, she's so obsessed with herself.
Yeah.
So I think, not to be like this person, but as chicks, you really can't win.
Yeah.
You kind of have to just not say anything.
Yeah.
I'm just self-deprecating. It's how I feel. I'm easy to make fun of. I've always been easy to make fun of. So I'm going to stick to that dialogue. And there's going to be days where I'm like, I look better today than I did yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I'm also more well-read today than I was yesterday. Or, I'm more edgy. Things like that I pride myself on.
Yeah.
More than, my Botox kicking in and I look more lifted or...
Dude, my favorite thing on your whole Instagram feed, which I was so proud of you that you posted that. And, it really made me just, look at you different. Because I was like, damn, this chick is so cool. You posted...
Oh, no.
you posted this video of you licking chocolate out of a jar.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I could not believe that you posted that. But at the same time, I was like, wow, she must be very confident. She must be, because you're like,
I'm over here thinking it's not that weird. I'm like,
oh, I loved it. I loved it. I live for that. A beautiful girl that, knows she's cool as shit, and she's, posting a video of her. You guys need to check it out, actually, whoever's listening.
This should be, if you post, just tag me in that and be like, today's guest.
It's a video of Anna just, lounging on a couch, and someone's, taking a video of her without knowing, and she's just, digging her tongue inside of this chocolate jar and just, grabbing just every last... and it's chocolate all over her face.
It was great, though. It was a great Sunday. I feel like I'm there right now. It was really nice. I think it's a little bit, because you and I talked about this, the ugly duckling syndrome.
Yes.
You got to bring it up because
yes, bring it up.
You can tell when someone has not been attractive for long.
Growing up, yeah.
It's true. And I feel like you are forced to develop other things to make you stand out. And I feel like one of the worst things that can happen to somebody, and they cannot help it, is being hot too soon. You don't have to form a sense of humor, a voice for yourself. It's like you're always just going to be cute and get what you want.
So now let's say in high school you're gorgeous, everybody wants you. You don't have to develop these other parts of your personality and character that people are going to want to hang out with you because you're a cool kid. Everybody wants to be with you.
Yeah.
But both of us growing up, we were both ugly.
No, 100%.
I was just super nerdy.
Yeah.
Big ass glasses.
Same.
My nose was red, for no reason. I don't know why. Just my nose was always red. And I had developed this where I would hide my nose in my hand, and everybody would just be like, "Why do you always have your hand in your face?" And I was like, "Oh, my hand smells good." But it was just,
which is so much weirder than having a red nose. I have to smell my fingers right now.
But I just had a really red nose, and it still sometimes gets red when I'm really cold, when we go into snow. But that really forced me into I don't know, figuring out other things to have friends.
Totally.
I would allow them to cheat off of me. That was my thing because I was a nerd.
You're a smart kid.
Yeah, I would be like, dude, I'll send you all the cheats, just hang out with me.
I did the same thing. So I was like, just don't hang out with me, but just think I'm cool in the back of your head. For sure. I'll do your project. I will help you with all the answers, but just leave me alone. And I think that that's where you develop the self-deprecation tool because if you make fun of yourself first, what are people going to say about you?
Yeah.
You know?
I already did worse to myself.
Exactly.
What are you going to do?
People like to be the ones that break the bad news to you. just so you know, you have fat ankles. And I'm like, I thought at the time was up.
No. I'm just a really
You're just chugging.
thirsty hoe.
Have these.
These are also fucking tiny.
It's like a 2-gulp bottle. Work on that, you guys.
So yeah, so that was your thing, and obviously, like, I love your sense of humor. You're
Thank
so
you.
funny. Like, your Instagram is, I think that's for sure your thing. Like, you know, you go on like people's Instagram, you're trying to figure out their thing, you know?
Yeah. If they have one.
Yeah, there's like the ass and titties girls, like, which, like, I'm not looking down
No,
on it. That's
totally
great.
fine.
Totally fine. But then, like, I like try to figure out like people's characters, like, and there's not much that comes off from your Instagram. I'm not gonna lie, you cannot judge a person from their Instagram.
Absolutely not.
I've been surprised many times. However, I will do my best to see what I can find if someone does just like get my interest to the level where I like go. And like your Instagram is just super cool. Like you just come off as like a really fun person. You're always making fun of yourself, which is great.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thanks.
Your captions just need a medal.
Thanks.
Which, like, I'm sure you know that. Like,
Just get
everybody
a bumper
tells
sticker
you
for them. Get a cookie as a reward for it. Yeah.
You could probably like come up with bumper stickers.
That'd
Like,
be cool.
Your ideas are very original. Like your captions and stuff, like the things you write are very.
When Fashion Nova stops sponsoring me, that's how I'll pay my rent.
Bumper stickers.
Bumper stickers. That would be sick. Probably more fulfilling.
Yeah, imagine people driving around with like your words.
Yeah.
On their car.
On their car. I'd be sick. Instead of, I was going to say a political thing.
Oh, God. Say it. We can cut it out.
Shut up. Anyways.
I do want to talk about your interest in like crime things. And like you love serial killers and murderers.
Yeah. And?
You're like, that's my type.
You want to know why?
Yeah, I do.
It 100, just have an accent meltdown. I'm so excited. It 100% stems from, I think, knowledge is power. And I think that people are absolutely mind blown by how devious humans can be. And it actually pains me when, for example, my sweet Davy, he's like, oh, a human would never do that. Or like, that would never happen. And I'm like, babe, it happened like 5 minutes ago. And it will happen every day until the day we die. And so I took it upon myself to destroy his like idealistic way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know ways to protect myself that a lot of females wouldn't. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to deter, you know, any creep from doing something to me.
Do you know how to fuck someone up?
Yeah, but I also know how to prevent it.
Ooh.
I think things through to a degree that is never useful. Like, you know, just I won't even go to movie theaters anymore because it's like, why would I go? There's so many reasons. It's like there's so many situations that I know I'm missing out on, of course, but my paranoia will keep me safe.
Yeah, but like, don't you think that now you like live in a constant state of paranoia? Because you know so many. Like,
yes, that is correct. I hate it and I love it. It's what makes me though. And I will sleep better at night / sleep worse because I know how to protect myself. And it also fascinates me, like why people are the way that they are. I mean, that's like my driving force. Like that's what makes me just fascinated even being alive is I want to know why I do the things that I do. And I want to know why other people do what they do. And the brain of someone so abnormal that I can't even wrap my head around is like the first case that I want to try to figure out.
Yeah.
I want to look at their childhood. I want to look at, I mean, and it's hard because I think with the empathetic thing, that's a strong feature in what makes me is I have a hard time. Like I'll listen to these childhood stories of people that have done horrific things and I'll find a way to be like, well, no wonder, you know, and I think that if you have more empathy towards children and you see those red flags and those warning signs, then like how much could we stop in the beginning? Because sometimes it wouldn't need to develop into a full grown adult murderer.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these kids just slip through. And there's like obvious, like there's that triad even of just like bedwetting, fire starting, and hurting animals.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have all of them. But if you exhibit that or you've had a head injury, take your kid to a doctor, watch them. Like your child is valuable and they could potentially hurt someone down the road. So I think just being educated before you reproduce, if you're around children, anything like that is a tool that more people should have. So I think that that's mostly why I don't like to hear the details of people get hurt. That's I kind of, it's fun. I tune that out. Like, I don't like to hear the horrific details, but I like to know how they got there.
Yeah.
So I love a good childhood story of a killer.
A lot of these killers, because I hated it. Last semester, one of my psychology classes, we were studying about serial killers, and it was my least favorite. Like, I already have like a little bit of short breath, and whenever I'm like nervous, my breath just like
panting like a dog.
Yeah, literally, like I could not breathe after that chapter. Like I could not breathe for like 2 weeks because I was just so upset. There was this it was like breaking down. Like, I know you don't like the details, but like, do you know, like, because you watch so many of these like shows and stuff, like there was this guy that was really famous too. First of all, there was this doctor who had the most number of kills,
the Dr. Death guy,
because he was killing his patients. And then there was a nurse. He was killing his patients. And then, which is like fucked up, but and there were so many fucked up ones, but the one that like really caused me to like, I had to pause my lecture and like go and like take a breather, like go cuddle my boyfriend, like eat something.
Seriously,
and come
watch
back.
some Friends.
I was very
Yeah.
It was this guy that he would, so like the tortures and stuff were like nothing new. For example, this guy would torture his victims with curling iron. It like put it inside their vajayjays, and for guys like put it inside their butthole.
Who was it?
I don't remember their names. I don't memorize their names. But like with a curling iron.
Yeah.
So it's like things are melting, but like, okay, sure, like that's fine. There was this other guy, I forget his name, but he would torture his victims to death, but never penetrate them.
Yeah.
In the last moments that they were dying, he would rape them.
Yeah.
In the last breaths, he would rape.
Was it Dennis Nielsen?
Do you understand how fucked up you gotta be?
And then sleep next to them?
To the death. Oh, there was another guy that would chop off their body parts and freeze them and eat them. Like, bro.
That could have been Dennis Nielsen, because he did the same thing where he would just store them in his house.
That's more okay to me than the guy that was like raping them as they were dying. Like, you just tortured this fucker. Let him die in peace. Or let her die in peace.
The God complex murders are the ones that don't interest me, like the nurse, the doctor, things like that, because that's just a power struggle, which is like most. I think the ones that interest me are the ones where they're trying to like replicate something, a complex that like their mother gave them or their father gave them. God. Those are the things that interest me, because those are so easily preventable. And it kind of makes you think of like the nature versus nurture, where like they predisposed to that issue and then they just were given the wrong parents. So I think that's what fascinates me the most.
Yeah, a lot of these serial killers, like as when they were children, they used to be like abused.
Absolutely.
They used to be, you know, just not treated well. Yeah. And I guess that totally makes sense that they turn out to be the way they are. I wish that could have been prevented.
Oh, yeah. It makes you look back and you want to pinpoint the thing that made them turn from being a sweet, you know, child into like sadistic, you know, killer. So I think that it's interesting. It's something that should be studied. So I'm happy you took that class.
Yeah. Oh, I think it would be like an awesome idea to in the future like have like a charity where you give college like psychology major students who graduate to go and counsel these kids who like live in the ghetto and like in less developed families that are like getting abused and they don't have anyone to talk to. They don't have like anyone that would like pay attention to them, and you could like have these you know, psychology major students that can like go talk to them, give them advice, and like listen to them, pay attention to them, let them vent. Maybe that will prevent future criminals and serial killers and rapers.
I think also a lot of it is no demographic is safe when it comes to that. Like a lot of people immediately think, oh, you know, poor communities or communities that don't have access to that, you know, healthcare or mental health care. But it's also the kids of the parents that are loaded and just don't give a damn about their kids. Those people turn out, I mean, no demographic is safe. A bad parent is a bad parent, whether they have $17 in their checking account or $500,000. You know, a bad human is a bad human. Yeah. So I think it's just I know this might be controversial, but I think you should have to take a mental health test to have a child.
Oh, absolutely.
It's upsetting to me that people that,
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess that's like it's an hour-long conversation I guess we
Yeah.
could have, but that's something I think should take place immediately.
Yeah, no, I agree. There are so many things that, like, there needs to be a mental health and, like, psychology test before you're just, like, allowed to do that thing.
To bring a life into this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
No amount of
Yeah.
money in your account should make you a more capable parent.
Right.
I know people that have no money and are the best parents. You know?
And those, like, super rich people have the most fucked up families.
Yeah, and their kids are doing drugs at
all of them.
11 years old, and, the suicide rate and things like that. So.
It's because they don't have anything to strive for. It's like when you're so loaded, like, you don't really have to get good grades because you get good grades to get good jobs. You don't have to really get a good job. You don't have to, like, you have money. So, again, you don't have to, like, do all those things to fit into groups either because you're loaded. Everybody wants to hang out with you. So, it's like you're not really working towards that many things unless you set goals for yourself. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do something with this money, or like I'm gonna, I don't know, set some things for myself and achieve. But usually those people, those kids, like they're so many of them are suicidal.
So it's true. I mean, it's like purpose fulfillment thing where like I know, like on a smaller scale, the times when I've felt like the most inadequate or depressed were the times where I wasn't doing something that I know I was capable of more. And, even I'm not that I'm depressed now, but like I know that I don't have a fulfilling life compared to maybe my future self is because I haven't found that career where I'm like, this is what I was meant to do.
Like your purpose.
Totally. Or even a hobby. It's like when you find that thing and you have that drive, I feel like that's when you're able to have a fulfilled life. Even like surfers.
Yeah.
I would love to have that, like a couple hours on the water and be like, this is where I feel truly myself. Yeah. I think it could be a hobby. It doesn't have to necessarily be saving someone's life.
Yeah. You should definitely check out the book that I just posted a book review about by Robert Greene. It's called Mastery. And he starts the book by giving some insanely good strategies and tactics on like figuring out your purpose and like the things that you're into, because like we're so misdirected by like all the things that are expected of us by society, by family, by friends, just so many things that like make us digress from our true path. And in that book he really like gets to the bottom of what it is that you
are meant
as
to do
a person.
I will read that for sure, because
it's a big book. I tell a lot of people to like listen to the audiobook if you don't like want to like hold it for 20 hours and read it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a really good book.
Okay. Yeah.
Like check it out. You're into reading.
Yeah, I love to read.
Yeah.
That was like all I used to do ever.
Yeah, you read a lot of books actually. You read a lot of novels, no? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that'll be like my quarantine thing is like finding my purpose. I feel like that's a lot of people's thing this year. Yeah. It's actually like the one up, I mean, that sounds bad, but it is an upside to what's going on right now.
It is.
A lot of time to sit and like reflect and be like, wow, I am not as good of a person as I maybe thought I was, or I don't make time for the people that I actually love as much as I should.
Yeah.
It gives you time to really reflect, which is nice.
Yeah. It like when you don't have to work and like worry about like making that money, then you really start thinking about, okay, what do I like to do? What's my purpose? Like, what am I doing here? And like, I feel like quarantine has done that for a lot of people. If you are lucky and blessed enough that you don't have to like stress about money, especially during this time, because I know it's hard for a lot of people, then I feel like it's been good for a lot of people, actually.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people suppress. Like, they just absolutely love it. And they would rather fill their schedules than actually deal with what's going on. And so I think that's also one reason like suicide rates and depression and things like that are skyrocketing right now, other than financial strain and just being in a situation where no one has dealt with this before, really.
You're just locked in with your spouse in a house.
Yeah, absolutely. And not knowing when things are going to end. And I think the unknown is the scariest thing for most people, including myself, where it's like, will we have weddings that are normal again? Will we be able to raise our
festivals?
The things that make people the happiest? Will we be able to have those, landmark situations? But is that the right phrase? Landmark situations? Sure.
We'll go with it.
My brain is starting to turn into mush. This is the most I've talked to anybody in months.
That is not true.
There's been like fragments, but things that actually matter. Maybe like 15 minutes at most.
Did you put these for me? Aw, you don't want any water?
I'll drink at the end.
Okay.
It'll be my reward.
So you're like super into serial killer stuff in their shows.
Yes.
Okay, do you know the names? Like, name me a few.
Yes, I know. Yes. As I'm like picking at my jeans like a killer would. But I feel like, so even though he wasn't, it sounds weird to have favorites. I am embarrassed to admit that. Even though he was not someone that I like am incredibly interested in, he is someone that keeps coming up now. I feel like people are very obsessed with Ted Bundy, and I think it's because his personality type is absolutely fascinating, strictly because there were women that worked closely with him for decades, and he was kind, he was supportive, he was the guy that you could go to dinner with, and he would be interested in your relationships. And
he was also a stud, no?
He was very handsome. Yeah. And he's in our brains, good looking, funny, sweet men cannot have a bad side. And I think there's something about the attractive level that makes certain men safe in a female's mind. And I think he played into that, where not only was he handsome, but he would also do things like wear a sling. He'd pretend his arm was broken, and he would, need help loading books or something into the back of his VW.
Be vulnerable.
Exactly. And women see that. And I think girls are guilted into feeling like they need to nurture and they need to help. And this whole case got me into then reading about why women feel like that. And it's even females accepting help when they do not want it. That's a tactic as well, where, if you're struggling with your groceries, I will do 4 trips instead of have a man help me, because I never want to feel in a position where I'm rude for then not accepting them coming into my home to put those bags down and things like that. I never want to make myself vulnerable, because those are the mind games that make these men so successful for so long. And that was something he played into, is he knew how to be the best friend. He was one of the only killers, I don't say one of the only killers, but he was a rare type because he was able to have long-term monogamous relationships. And they were incredibly smart, successful women that, loved him for years.
So he wouldn't do it to random chicks. He would do it to his girlfriends.
No, it's the opposite. He was able to not only kill women and rape women, but he was then also able to go home and play a father figure to, his girlfriend's daughter. He was able to, play with her. He was able to be the supportive boyfriend. These women never suspected anything from him. And I think that is one reason that I became so fascinated with this topic, even dating men that I think everyone throws around that their ex is a sociopath or a psychopath. I think that's a loosely thrown around thing. And I hate to be that person that was like, I actually did. You know what I mean? It's like after dating someone that was so awful and played so many mental games, and to this day I fear him, that was something that made me very interested in the people like the Bundys, because they're able to turn off the monster when they need to. And that's something that we don't think is possible. We think they're going to look like the scary homeless person on the corner. We don't think he's going to be, which he was, a suicide awareness. He was the person you call when you're feeling suicidal, and he would help talk you off of a ledge, sort of thing.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
That's crazy to me that he was able to be a nurturer of some sort. And it makes you wonder how much of that was authentic and how much of that was something maybe to ease his guilt, or if he even had a guilt. It's like there's so many questions I have for this person.
I wonder if he's a Gemini.
I think he is.
Like how he has those.
I think Ted Bundy is a Gemini.
Two completely
split things. It's interesting because I Googled, which is so interesting. I think cancers are the number one most dangerous sign, which I don't even understand. Cancers? Because they're so.
Is he?
Sagittarius.
He's a
Sagittarius.
Interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
Also
Dennis Nilsson is he's frightening. Yeah. He's the one that would sleep with dead bodies, and that's because he was so lonely.
You can just buy a blow up doll. Do they still sell?
Yeah,
those?
but it's just not the same.
It's
just not the same. They can't talk back to you. Maybe the
a
good ones
dead body can't either.
Well, before
the
pre-death thing. I feel bad for laughing about that. That's morbid. But like, for example, my favorite serial killer, sounds awful to say, is the one that they based like Buffalo Bill off of. If you've seen Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that your favorite movie?
It's my all-time favorite movie.
Yeah, and the fact that I know that, see?
It means I talk a lot about myself. I'm like, please listen to everything I have to say. He's interesting to me because he's someone that he couldn't have turned out normal, in my opinion. Like, based off of just his mother was, incredibly abusive and didn't allow him to have friends, girlfriends, shamed him out of doing anything that was a normal reproductive thing, or he was unable to grow as an individual, and so he became ultimately like his mother's companion, best friend, partner, everything. And when she passed away, his identity basically died with her, and his way of being surrounded with her presence and ultimately feeling like she was still around was, unfortunately, to dig up graves and then make furniture out of women's bodies. Which is like upsetting, obviously, for so many different reasons. But his goal was so nice. That sounds terrible. You could crop that out.
What was his goal?
His goal was just, he was so lonely. Like, he had no sense of identity, and his only sense of identity was through his mother.
Okay, let me ask you this. If you could go back in time and somebody told you, Anna, if you hang out with this dude so that he's not lonely, then all these people will not die because he will have a companion, would you do it?
Yes, absolutely.
You would put yourself at a risk of hanging out with someone who has the potential to do stuff like that.
I think a lot of people have the potential to be monsters, but I think the fact that if someone had been there for him and not left him like everybody else did, everyone thought he was a freak, he smelled weird, he didn't shower, things like that. Like, I honestly think that if he had had just one person be there for him, his whole world could have changed. And I firmly believe that's why you have to step in as a parent or just an observer when you see things like that happen. Because even when he was detained, he was sent to a mental institution. He was deemed unfit for prison. He was caught and arrested, obviously. Okay. But when he was deemed unfit to withstand trial because he was obviously crazy. But he was in a mental facility, hospital. Mm-hmm. And they said that he was like a dream. He was so kind. He was so easy to get along with. He was sweet. He never broke the rules, never made anyone feel uncomfortable or unsafe. And it was because he had lived ultimately in it was kind of like he was not inpatient, it was kind of like he was a prisoner his whole life. Mm-hmm. So he felt most comfortable when he was detained and he was given a set of rules. Aww. Ultimately, he killed people when he was left alone. He didn't know how to be on his own. Wow. But they said that he was, one of the best that they've ever seen. And so then I'm like, if he has that kindness to him, and it's not a manipulation tactic because he has nothing to gain out of it. Those are the people that I hate to say that I have a soft spot for because they're ultimately evil. Yeah. But it's Ed Gein. Yeah, it's Gein. He's most Texas Chainsaw Massacre is loosely based on it just because of the skin mask and then all of that stuff. But that stuff I obviously don't like. I don't think that's okay. I don't even like to look at it. It makes me sick to my stomach. I don't look at pictures. It's that sort of stuff, to make it very clear, does not interest me, nor do I want to see it. I don't like to hear what he's done to people. It's more just his childhood traumas that got him there. Yeah.
So it's really interesting, your approach of how you even speak about someone who's obviously done so many horrific things. Yeah. And I think I was reading this little thing yesterday that was kind of saying how each personality type, mm-hmm. how to first get them to like you and date you. And mm-hmm. for your personality type was play vulnerable as if you're trying to get them to help you.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's play in a way to show that you're vulnerable and you need their help because they would love nothing more to figure someone out. So, and you're also extremely empathetic. So the way you're like talking about this serial killer,
I know.
your approach to
God,
it,
I
your
hate
approach,
me right now.
No, but like it's like what makes you different because you're an INFJ and it's a very amazing personality type. It's like you're extremely empathetic, and your approach to it is, oh, this dude was just helpless.
Yeah.
He was lonely. He needed someone to like help him and fix him. He was vulnerable, you know, and you're empathizing with him, which is like so uniquely you.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like I don't want to condone being a monster. There's like couldn't make that more clear. I don't think anything he did was okay.
No.
I think I just like to make it clear that my interest is how we could have prevented it.
Yeah.
And of course there's those people that are just bad eggs. They come out of the womb, there's something evil and wrong about them, and their parents didn't do anything. I mean, all parents mess up in some ways, but they didn't do there wasn't like a pivotal moment where they messed their child up or put their child through agony. Those are cases I don't even want to read about. It's the ones where there was a very long timeline in which things were preventable and someone should have stepped in and someone should have been an advocate for that child. And like, that's the stuff that breaks my heart. And like, even with what you just said about the personality thing, about how was it saying that I should be vulnerable or that the person should be vulnerable?
The other person should be
Okay, because I was going to
vulnerable.
say that's like the opposite. I like pretend that there's nothing for them to fix or help. And my mom and I kind of have this joke because I had 2 boyfriends in a row that had just had knee surgery. And that's when I met them. And I like played the nurse ultimately. You know, I liked, doting on them and making sure that they felt taken care of and they never felt like a burden. And that's my way of ultimately bonding with someone, is showing them that I can take care of them and that I want to do it. But then I also feel like there's like that resentment that plays into that because I set that dynamic, I set that tone very early on in a relationship. And then I'm like a year or 2 in and I'm like, can you take care of me? Like when I'm sick, can you bring me soup? And I feel like, I don't want to say men in general, but I think a lot of men are kind of like, oh, but I thought you didn't like flowers. So I thought you didn't need help. Yeah. They forget that, you
kind of like take on that role from when you like take it on so early on.
True.
It really does become your role. Like my mom would always tell me, like, don't early on into any relationship, don't start doing too much of anything.
Yeah.
Just really anything. Not necessarily like bad things, good things either. Like because like, especially like girls like us, like I feel like I can handle myself. Like
you absolutely can. You're very independent.
You know, like, but a lot of times my mom is like, don't do everything yourself. Like let him do it. Let him fix that. Let him do that thing. If you need to take your car to the mechanic, let him take it. Don't start doing everything yourself in the beginning, because 10 years, 20 years from now, then it's just going to be expected of you. And like you already took on this role of like strong, independent woman, which I love. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't, but there has to be like you want to be taken care of as a woman. Like no matter how independent and strong you are, you like want that feeling of like,
Yeah. No, I think that's something that, if I could do something differently in a relationship, that's what I probably would reverse, because I feel like I set that tone of like my pride won't allow that. I would rather, like, if I can pay for this, I mean, I buy everything myself. I don't receive gifts. Like I'm definitely one of those people where it's like if I want something, I'm going to get it before anyone else can get it for me, because I don't like anyone to be able to hold that, I guess, not against me, but I don't want them to think they have that on me. Like,
right, like you owe them something.
Exactly.
So when you and Davey go on dates, do you guys split it?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I honestly, even 3 years in, for example, yesterday, like there was like a situation with the bill where they forgot my order and I went back and I paid for my own meal. He paid for his, I paid for my own. And it's not that he sets the tone of, it's not even on him as much as it is on me. I want to feel like I'm contributing equal. If I can pay for it, I'm going to. There are certain situations where maybe it's my birthday, he can pay for something, but then I'm going to get dessert. Yeah. I don't sleep well at night knowing that I've been spoiled by somebody. I'm going to spoil myself. And I think that maybe, I hate to say it's a tourist thing, but like I like to take care of myself.
Yeah. Sure, but like as your boyfriend, as your like 3-year-old man. 3-year-old man.
I know. My little toddler. It sounds creepy. I get what you're saying. My 3-year-old
relationship. Like, does he make you feel special, or is it just like the type of vibe where you're like, no, I make myself feel special. I spoil myself. I buy things for myself, and he just like buys them for himself.
I think it's that really plays into the love language thing, where gifts and like acts of service are just not my thing.
What are your love languages?
Words of affirmation, unfortunately.
You're pretty.
And thank you. I will literally have a meltdown. And like quality time, like if I'm
like hang out.
Yeah, I just want to be with you. I want to do normal shit with you. And I want you to.
So low maintenance. Wow.
I thank you. I tell Davey that constantly. You could have it so much worse. I just like someone to be like, you're special, you're unique.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that I'm pretty. It doesn't have to be that any of that
something
crap.
less cliche.
Yes, you're the most beautiful girl in the world. Would I want to hear that once a year? That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not, want to hear it.
Yeah.
It's more like the things that make me feel special are not a purse, which is not at all hating on that at all, because I know girls where it's like they drop a hint, their boyfriend gets it, and it's like, wow, he listened. So there's something to that, and it feels amazing. For me, it's just if you write a card and you tell me you made me so happy today, that just melts me completely, you know?
That is so like feeler of you in INFJ.
I have
like
so many feelings.
You're
I do. I feel
an
so
emotional
much.
wreck.
I feel so much all the time. It's annoying.
No, but like it's it's cute. It's really cute because like when you see a girl like you think, wow, she must be so high maintenance. Like she must want all the things in the world.
No, the things that make me genuinely happy are the things that made me happy when I was like 5 or 6. You know what I mean?
You're so adorable.
Like seriously, like when I think
like
about
what?
it,
like what? Legos.
No, I was never a Lego gal. I like played
Barbie?
Barbies until high school though.
You did?
Like a lunatic.
You played Barbie?
Yeah, it's a role play thing. It's that I had an imagination and all that stuff. But like when I think about what makes me like truly happy, like my dad, he's like a unique human in his own. He doesn't know how to relate to me, and like he's just like a very socially awkward German man. And I love him completely, but like the thing that we bonded over is we're obsessed with European cars and we're obsessed with old rock. And like he would take me in his like old convertible and we'd go to the beach and we would just blast like Led Zeppelin and John Lennon and just Cream, all the good shit.
Yeah.
Tears for Fears, and like that is all we did. We didn't really talk. We just blasted music, and we're like, "This is a good one. Like this was one of his best. Like this is a White Album. Like
that sounds like a really good time, actually.
It's the best time, and like that's what we do now, and it like brings me right back to being 6 years old and thinking my dad's the coolest guy in the world, even if he doesn't feel like it.
How old is he now?
He's like 63.
Okay.
And like that's what we do now. I mean, I go home. I'm an only child, and I like prioritize going home to see my parents once a month. Like it's one reason I chose the job that I chose is because I don't want to have to answer to anybody when I want to fly home to see my parents.
Where do they live?
Sonoma.
Oh yeah, you're from NorCal
wine
too.
country.
I remember. Yeah.
So that's just the stuff that makes me happy, or like sitting by the pool and like
just like the simple things,
just normal things, just being with them and
spending quality time, eating. Making memories.
Yeah,
that is very sweet.
In fact, the fancier, the more uncomfortable I feel. Genuinely, like I like the jet thing, the fancy boats, the restaurant,
private jets.
Yeah, and it's not at all that I think it's dumb. It's like, to me, the fancier and the more expensive it is, the more uncomfortable, and like I don't want to be there.
And it's like I do know her, and this is true.
Yeah,
like,
it's intimidating. I don't want to be involved in it.
Yeah, and very, very authentic to yourself, and I totally see those things, which is so on LA girl of you.
Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Good for you, Anna. Like, you figured it out.
And everyone was like, do not change when you move to LA. And I'm like, there is nothing. I don't think that could.
Yeah, me and her used to have this conversation, me and Eileen, because I'm from San Jose, like, not originally, but like I lived there for a while too, and that's where we became friends. And she, when I was going to move to LA, she was genuinely
concerned for you. Yeah.
She was like, if you become an LA bitch, like,
I'm not going to like you.
Yeah, and I was like, well, keep me in check.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think you're pretty set in who you are, and I think that if you like start modeling or you move to a place that's like you just can't be impressionable or too young when you enter an industry like modeling or move to a city like LA. Because if you hear something too much or too infrequently, that's going to eventually be what shapes you.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so lucky that it's funny because all growing up, I was always told that I was ugly, and it like didn't, or like or a freak or something. And it didn't really.
I'm so curious to see like how ugly are we talking?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I was probably a 2. I'm kidding. No, a 3. I'm okay. I'm being humble. A 3. No, and that's like, I'm happy that I was told that versus that I'm hot or perfect or something like that, because I feel like you work a hell of a lot harder.
Yeah.
When you're told you can't do something.
Yeah. Like I told my boyfriend, I was like, the last thing I want our kids to be is like gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I'm not even lying.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be smart. I want them to be socially smart. And then, like, later, if they need a nose job, like, mommy will pay for it.
And fix it later. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's key. That's why I can't reproduce with Davey. I'd end up looking like Brad Pitt. I can't have a Brad Pitt looking kid.
You guys will have, like, the bombest kid ever.
That just can't dance and have lisps. But they'll be nice.
Yeah, no, you guys are such a beautiful couple. I'm sure you hear it all the time.
Thanks. People tell me he's hotter than me on a weekly basis, and it messes with my head. The competitive part of me, I'm like, who says that? Who says that?
Is prettier than you?
Or they say he looks like my brother, and I'm like, thank you. He's gorgeous, so that's really
like
nice.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to make you feel like awkward.
Like it's like an incestual thing. And I'm like, I'm literally taking that as a compliment.
Yeah.
But cool.
Yeah, you guys are very beautiful. Why don't you do this? Why don't you like say where people can like see your stuff? Like, what's your Instagram, or if you have like any other social media platforms?
I only have an Instagram.
And she says it every day on her
I
story,
know.
where like people hit her
One
up, where they're like,
account.
people hit her up with like all these like fake accounts, and they're like, give me my money back.
Literally.
And she's like, that was not me, dude. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't want to be mean or be judgmental, but if you're falling for someone with 12 followers being like, hi, this is my private account that I want to talk to just you. I created this account to talk to you.
Like, wow, I feel so special.
Send me $1,500. It's like,
here, honey.
It's so sad. Don't fall for it. But yeah, I do have an Instagram account. Do I spell it out now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's AKATHARINAV.
But like, how do you say it?
My name's Anna Katharina. So it's basically like Katharina V.
V. What's the V?
My last name. First letter of my last name.
Katharina V.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so there's just like a V?
Just for Katharina was taken. So I had to throw a V in there. I didn't want to be Katharina 1478 or something.
So just a V.
Just a V. First letter of my last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
You can follow me if you want.
And that's the only thing you have?
That's the only thing I have.
And your phone number and your social security?
And my social security. I already told them my astrological sign. Only child.
Yeah, they can look you up.
Yeah.
Find your address.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. That was my ego loved being your first guest.
Oh. No, I knew you were going to be a great, great one. And I was great.
Thanks, Pani. You're the best. I'll see you in 3 years.
I know. Bye. See you next time.
Are we done?
All right.
Move with the rhythm. Shake it up, stop when the clock hits that.